Thanks, Mick. Congratulations, Daisy Pearce. Wow, what a remarkable achievement. It's the third time you've received this award, winning back in 2017 and 2018. It also tops off selection. It's also tops off selection in the All-Australian and being named AFLW Best Captain. How much have you enjoyed this season?
Yeah, not because of those reasons, but no, I've absolutely loved the year. I think, like Mick said, just the opportunity to bunker down on your role and consider yourself a role player. Like, I definitely thought my days of getting up here and getting these awards were numbered, and I was very content with that, and almost is why I enjoy my footy so much now, is just that opportunity to play your role, but also because of the group of girls that I get to play with and the staff and coaches that I get to go to work with as well. It makes it so much more enjoyable, but Mick touched on it as well, the improvement of the competition and this group. Like, I think playing as the deepest forward, you really get to taste just how far it's come. I rested as a forward in the first season, and no disrespect to those that were banging around then, but there would be times where you went down there and you thought, all right, it's going to go there, and then come here, I'll start here, and it would go around in circles and back the other way, and you just wouldn't get near it. So then, even throughout the end of last year, to play in our forward line and train there in the off-season, there were times where I made like strange involuntary noises because I was just so excited about how good the footy was, and that what you thought might happen was actually being executed. So it's been so enjoyable, and I think also, like, just the perspective now, and this is where a shout out to Ben comes in early in the piece, but to get to footy, it's like such an outlet for me, and you come down, you can kind of get away with acting 18, 19 and carrying on and pretending your youth is still just right there. So that side of things, the outlet, and how much I love coming and being a part of a footy club, it is an absolute privilege, and something I know now that I'm getting towards the back end that it's not something that you get anywhere else.
Well, we certainly saw you relish up forward, kicking 13 goals. Now, being the captain, Saturday's grand final must have been pretty tough. How proud of the group are you, and the spirit in which they played?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Mick touched on this as well. Like, in other years, you kind of go into those games unsure about what you were going to get, and then walk away with, even though I'm feeling disappointed we didn't get the result, you walk away with a sense of pride that every single player, and even the players that didn't take the field, those that trained with us in the month extra pre-season we got leading into the final series, just that everyone was giving it their absolute all, and just those doubts and what-ifs kind of weren't there. I'm super proud that the game played out that way, even though that we didn't get the result.
Well, fingers crossed for next one, that's for sure. Now, you've been at Melbourne since the beginning. We've heard a little bit about it tonight, but how has the belief among the group developed over that time?
Yeah, heaps, for those reasons. And some of it comes from on-field things, like the close games that Mick said, and all the different scenarios that the season put us in. Everyone was feeling sorry for Freo when we played them, and they had to have a top-up player, but I think it was round 2 against Richmond. We had Jordan Zanchetta come down from Queensland. It was like, hey Jordan, and she was warming up with us as our emergency, so we had to contend with challenges like that along the way. But there were those on-field reasons why belief grows, but it was also off-field, like when you realise that a bunch of second-year players in Fitzy, Bano and Eliza had kind of started their own little extras club, and they were driving it, not because a senior leader was telling them to or showing them how to, but they just knew that it was what was needed to improve, or other things like, Paxi, one of the best players in the comp, being told, I know you've played on ball all year, but you're going out to a wing, or Maddie Gay, you're having a stint at the half-back, Kate Hoare, you're going to play behind the ball. All these things that, Kate Hoare, one of the best forwards in the comp, doesn't bat an eyelid that she has to spend time behind the ball. When you get those things happening in a footy club, your belief starts to grow that you've got people that are there for the right reasons.
Absolutely. Well, we know you've got a lot of supporters in the room this evening, but I think it's safe to say that Sylvia and Roy are up there with your biggest supporters. Now that they're a little bit older, how special is it having them enjoy the footy as much as you do?
Yeah, it is special. I thank them and Ben, obviously, just for the sacrifices that they make, like the amount of nights where you leave the house with them screaming because their mum's going to footy training again. I do thank them for letting me do that, and I know they are starting to get a lot out of it. It's probably coming to an age now where they do start to, the footy club environment, they're starting to absorb it. Like, we caught up at the park with Taylor and Cody, and then any time we're going to a park now, they think we're going there to meet footy players, and Sylvie's probably more naturally into it than Roy is at this stage for whatever reason, but she'll pick up a footy and just walk up and down past me, and I pretend I haven't seen her, and if I call her bluff for long enough, she'll say to me, "Tackle me, Mum." She'll have to ask me to tackle her. Or another one recently, she picked up my Garmin watch, and I've never sat there and said, "This is for my running watch and this is what you do," but she asked me to put it on and then started cutting laps into all the rooms and up and down the hallway, and came up and asked how far she'd run. So little things like that, I was like, you haven't taught them these things, but they just absorb it. So yeah, it's so rewarding having them a part of the environment, and I'm just so grateful to, not just the players, but the staff and Mick for the support and understanding and flexibility that I've had in coming back. Here I go again. But yeah, to Reegs and Sammy, the amount of times we've just given each other that little nod, and you've just known what it meant, and you've stripped back what I had to do in the off season or whatever so that I could still gain something, but do it in a mum's time frame, which is about a third of the time. And Mick, of course, as well. But yeah, just that understanding to be able to make it possible what I do, I'm really grateful for.
Thank you so much, Daisy. Well, let's hear it for your 2020.
Sorry, I've got a few more people to thank, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I just want to thank Jane, our forwards coach, as well, who, alongside Mick, just has such a huge influence on not just me as a player, but as a person. I think our entire group as well. But Jane, I love sharing the footy experience with you, and I'm constantly learning off you, and you're just such a role model for me as a person, but also a leader and a coach if I ever get there. I'll be probably a hybrid of Mick and Jane. But yeah, so thanks, Jane, for all your support and teaching me to be a forward. To Johnny Stanier for sticking with me when I was the worst set shot in the competition, and for just sticking by me and helping me improve it somewhat. And someone I forgot to mention before, it's probably on behalf of the whole team, but to Todd Patterson, he kind of always gets missed because he's not a coach, he's not a high performance staff, he's kind of just on his own little island. But to Pato, as a nearly 34-year-old, for you to have put this list together every year where I go into the season thinking we could win this thing, it's a credit to you and what you've done with our list, and you put in a mountain of work, and I'm so grateful for it. And as I get older, I'm even more and more grateful for it, particularly now that we haven't won this one. But yeah, to Ben, I mentioned a couple of times, but just your support, the first thing I thought of, or other than what the heck, when Mick read out my name, was that, it's a little bit hollow for me because you don't go into a season thinking, I want to win the B&F. You come here wanting a flag. And I didn't get that, but I probably think of you and the family that probably get a bit more enjoyment out of this, because it's for all your support that I can leave the house as often as I do when we do have a family. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy.